Now I want to take you on a real quick tour of Visual Studio 2012, show you a couple little gotchas that could trip you up and just get you used to the look of this interface. Now, if you're new to Visual Studio, it can be a little bit intimidating, so let's just kind of go through the basics here. What I'm going to do is go down and click on the Start button, and you'll notice I have Visual Studio pinned to my Start menu. Now, if you're using Windows 8, you can do very similar things, and we won't go into all that now. If you're using Windows 8, you can put this on your Start menu and get to it as a shortcut as well. Otherwise, if I go into All Programs, you will see there's Visual Studio 2012, and I can come down and find Visual Studio 2012. Again, in Windows 8, you can just search on the Start screen. You can go out there and create shortcuts on the desktop. You can do all kinds of things. But notice, here's the main thing I want you to see. Once we start Visual Studio 2012, notice I've downloaded the trial version, the evaluation version. I got Ultimate 2012 edition of Visual Studio, and this is just a little bit confusing. It's asking for a product key and you can't go next, and it looks like, wait a minute, what's going on? And this is telling me that the trial of this product will expire in 15 days. Well, okay, how do I get into Visual Studio here? Well, the trick is I don't want to enter a product key. I just want to hit cancel, and then this will take me in to Visual Studio. Okay, now notice I'm in here. This is my Start page. Now, as you can see in Visual Studio, you have a lot of menus, items across the top, and these are dynamic. Notice down here, I have updates to Visual Studio available. I can click here to update those, and let me go back to the menus up here. These are dynamic depending on what I'm dealing with, what I have open, what's configured in the interface at different times. I could see different options up here, so kind of keep your eyes up here. This toolbar I can change, and notice I can put all sorts of things up here. Okay, so for example, I can put debug toolbars up here. Okay, and you can play with these, and if you just mouse over them, it'll tell you that's an open file, that's save all, right, all that kind of stuff. This is save selected items. Now, when I get ready to start, I can either click the hypertext links here, or I can come up here and do File, New Project. Either way, it's going to take me to the same place. Couple of things I want to bring to your attention right here. Notice this checkbox says create a directory for the solution. We're going to talk about solution and projects a little bit later on in the course, but for now, understand that all of my files for this new application I'm building will go into a directory that's the name of my solution, and right there it is. Don't just kind of blow past this. Notice I can choose in Visual C# to create a Windows Forms application, a WPF application, a console application, and it just kind of goes on and on. Silverlight, all of that stuff is right here. WCF service application, an Outlook 2010 add-in. So there's lots of opportunities here to do whatever I would like. But when I choose the Windows Forms application that we're going to use in this course, because we just want to concentrate on C# programming, and that's it. Here's the location. Notice Users, Mark Long Documents, Visual Studio Projects. If I navigate to that out there in my actual file structure on my disk, I will see a solution folder called Windows Forms Application 1, because that's the name that I have right here. Notice I can change that if I would like. And so all I have to do here is click OK, and this would tell me that I'm ready to go. Okay, so I clicked OK. Notice down here on the left, lower left, whoop, if I don't mouse over it, it said before I moused over it that it's creating the Windows Application 1. There it is, it's back. Okay, so the project creation was successful, and now I'm in the window. Now, there's a couple of things I want to show you here, and if you've been in here before, these are old things. First of all, I can reorient things very easily just by mousing around. Notice I can see I get a double arrow, and I can pull that down, and I can see my Solution Explorer. More on that later. Also, there's tabs everywhere here, and I can click on them and see Team Explorer. Notice back to Solution Explorer here. This is my Properties window, and over here on the left, this is a form that it gave me for default to begin programming. But notice over here, here is a toolbox, and if I move over here and click, the toolbox pops out. It covered up my form. But notice there's a little push pin, and this is the auto hide button. If I click that, it will pin this and it stays out, and my form moves over. And now I can see all of my tools and my form. And obviously I can drag something onto the workspace here if I would like. Okay, I'm going to delete that. I'll just hit the delete key. If this is not pinned up and I click on it and it comes out, I can just double click the button. It'll drop it onto the form, move the mouse over, let it go away, and then reposition it. So it's however you want it. Well, what's the big deal with this stuff? Notice over here, I can unpin the Solution Explorer and unpin properties. Well, here's the big deal. If I double click the button and I'm getting ready to write code, I have the entire width of the screen. Now, if I bring my toolbox back, there's no tools there now, but Solution Explorer, if I pin that, notice I have much less screen real estate to actually code in, okay? So just watch for that. Then I want to show you one more thing. If I have my Solution Explorer, well, let's do the toolbox. If I have the toolbox out here and I pin it, I can move it. As soon as I pull it, click on it, left click and drag on that title bar, I can move it. Notice I can dock it wherever I would like it to be. So now it's docked at the top. Well, I don't want that. So how do I get it back? Okay. Well, I can keep moving it around over here until I get it back where I want it to be. And notice now it's back. So just watch for that. It will confuse you, but you can drag and drop these things anywhere you'd like. And you'll even see tabs across the bottom. Don't let it intimidate you. As we work through the course, you'll see all these things and become very comfortable with it if this is a new environment for you. So that's a quick little tour of Visual Studio 2012.